So this player was a fan favorite in the LA Kings. He kind of was a two-way player that drew a lot of interest in the NHL because he knew where not only the puck was, he knew where the net was. So we're going to talk today about the curious case and unfortunately the early death of the very talented skater Réal Lemieux. Now, I don't know if he's any relation to the big Lemieux, like Claude and Mario and everybody else, but he came to major prominence, ladies and gentlemen, in the OHA. He put up some really strong numbers with the Lachine Maroons and then the Hamilton Red Wings in the mid-1960s. Now, in 1964 season, he had 44 points, including 42 games, and 65, he had 88 points in 48 games. Now, because Hamilton was an OHA affiliate of the Red Wings, his NHL rights were owned by the Wheels. And in 3 seasons with Memphis, the CPHL, he had some strong seasoning. 67 was his best campaign. We had 62 points in 68 games, including 28 goals. And he had his first NHL action in that season. Now, Lemieux eventually was picked up by the Kings in the expansion draft. He was one of many players who were mired in the minors that would have made the obviously the 12-team NHL, but the numbers game held him back. First season with the Kings, he had 35 points in 74 games. Second year, 40 points in 75 games. Now, he eventually found his way to the Rangers in 1970, where he was a defensive stalwart. For some reason, I know he didn't play in the playoffs that year in the Stanley Cup run. Now, he was eventually reacquired after that by the Kings, where he wrapped up the bulk of his majority of games in NHL. In 78, he had 13 goals, and 72, he had 13 goals in 28 games. But a terrible plus-minus, ladies and gentlemen, of -40 on a Kings team that was still struggling without the appearance of Marcel Dionne. So in 1973, he found himself 15 points in 74 games with a much improved -1 plus-minus. 74, after scoring no goals in 20 games, he eventually showed up in the Rangers again, no goals in 8 games, but he finally got his first game of the season in the final part of his campaign with Buffalo with a goal and 2 assists. So he was losing his scoring prowess, but he was mostly, like I said, defensive stalwart. His complete career, he had 483 games, 51 goals, and 104 assists. Now, here's where it gets kind of bizarre, ladies and gentlemen. When he was cut by the Sabres in 1974, Lemieux decided to retire and joined the steel company in Sorel. He was originally from Victoriaville, but he still had a lot of connections with his home province. For some reason, in October 1975, he developed a blood clot in his brain and died on October 24th of that year. Now, I haven't heard too many particulars about his passing, but a lot of you remember it was a big loss for the Victoriaville and Sorel communities because he was well respected in his home region, and he had a lot of fans in LA because he was part of kind of the French aspect of the team at the time. And with a middle name like Gaston, you know you're good Quebec hard-working players. So again, tragic end to a life where he might have overachieved, ladies and gentlemen, because he was one of the few defensive bright spots for the Kings. And their 69 strong playoff run, where he had 4 points, he really drew a lot of fan interest as a very talented and a very established player. And again, his AHL numbers and CPHL numbers weren't too bad, but we also remember his good efforts in Springfield in 71. We had a point-a-game pace in 33 games. So that's the lives of Réal Lemieux.